Our parents said, eat it. It's good for you, no matter how it tasted. But how about if it were eat it, it's good for you and tastes marvelous? Haute cuisine for good health. Tonight, on Call with the Prairie Doc. Good evening and welcome to On Call with the Prairie Doc. Dr. Holm is off tonight on assignment. I'm Dr. Rob Allison, an internist with the Avera Medical Group Pierre. In this country, we are blessed and maybe cursed by a wide selection of food choices. Everything from overly processed fast food to the local cafe, gourmet dining, to the fresh produce found at farmers markets. Food is connected to our culture, our family traditions, even comfort, and unfortunately to many illnesses, and obesity as well. However, with good choices and a little creativity, you can improve your daily dining to where it supports a healthy lifestyle without giving up good taste. First, let's take a look at this week's Prairie Doc quiz question. True or false, a reduction of 500 calories a day from your usual diet should result in a pound of weight loss a week. Viewers who call in the correct answer will be entered into a drawing to win a signed copy of our book, The Picture of Health. Each of Dr. Holm's essays, originally written for this show, comes with a wonderful accompanying photograph by Dr. Judith Peterson. We will announce the answer and the winner at the end of the show. Remember, you only have 10 minutes to get your answers in. We answer your medical questions about food and diet as they are called in or sent to us via Facebook or email. Call in questions to 1-888-376-6225 or send us an email to the address on the screen. Joining us tonight is Ellen Lee. She's Vice President of the Foundation at Avera St. Mary's and works collaboratively with community partners in health-related grant projects. Ellen, can you tell us a little bit about your work with the Foundation and the projects it supports?
I can. There's a lot of great things the Foundation does. A lot of the things that we do is raising money for special projects and equipment. And honestly, the major project we have going right now is we are going to build a new Avera Cancer Institute in Pierre with a big grant from the Helmsley Charitable Trust. We are just getting started on that and I'm very excited about it. The other things that we do are working collaboratively with our community partners in healthcare issues. And some of the things we're going to talk about tonight certainly are included in that collaboration.
Also with us this evening is Dr. Marty Allison. Dr. Allison's a board-certified pediatrician working for Avera Medical Group in Pierre. Marty, as a pediatrician, what do you see as a trend in general health of youth in the United States?
Well, currently, unfortunately, there's a trend or an epidemic really in childhood obesity that it's probably multifactorial why that's happening. I mean, kids are spending more time in front of screens, less time outside playing. We're eating more fast foods, processed foods, not cooking at home as a family as much. Parents are working. Unfortunately, we're seeing more obesity. I have patients now that have pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, and when I was a resident training, I never really saw type 2 diabetes in children, but now I do, unfortunately. So that is a unfortunate trend, but there's some great things that we can do to help reverse that trend, and we're going to discuss some of them this evening.
Very good. Do you see healthcare affected by the Native American population in Pierre as being a big issue in regards to obesity?
I do have a lot of Native American patients, and they are a population that is predisposed to, unfortunately, type 2 diabetes that does run in the Native American population. So again, though, the good thing is that with healthy diet and increased activity, there are a lot of things you can do to reverse that trend.
Very good. We are constantly bombarded with the latest fad diets or exercise programs claiming that theirs is the only way to health. But in order to see what really works, we have to do the science.
It's 4 M's, which stand for Make Muscles Move More, and the E stands for Eating Right. And this is a title that Dr. Holm came up with for the study that he was planning, and he liked the idea that doing all these things, it's really for me or for the person doing them. So that's the title we came up with. what we decided to do was to plan a study. The measurements that we're making, we think, will show changes over a 12-week time period. So we've made the baseline measures, and as part of the study, we wanted people to get together, learn more about healthy diet, how physical activity is beneficial in life, and so we decided that once a week it would be good to meet and to be with a group, discuss how things are going, have questions. And each week then the groups meet. There's about a half hour of a lesson that's related to nutrition. And then the other half hour is usually spent doing some exercises that build strength and balance and help improve muscle function. So the balanced diet that we were modeling off is what the USDA recommends, and that's called MyPlate. And MyPlate is an idea that you envision your dinner plate, and that half of it is fruits and vegetables every meal. And then the other half, a fourth of it would be a protein, a lean type protein, and the other fourth would be a whole grain type carbohydrate. So brown rice or whole grain pastas or something like that. And also then to include a serving of dairy. So that's the vision of what the balanced diet should be. And of course we give them resources like to go to myplate.gov if they are computer users. There's also MyFitnessPal is another one that's good for keeping track of not just your intake but also the calories you burn as you are physically active. So when participants come, they generally have had maybe a little homework assignment. I know the first couple weeks Dr. Holm asked them to just count your calories, watch what you're eating, see how many calories you're taking in. And then besides that, they keep track of their exercise and their activity throughout the week. Part of the study, I think, is just to have a focus more on what you're eating and how many calories there are. So it's something that until we maybe focus on it a little more, we do find that we might be taking in a lot more calories and maybe not as nutritious type calories as we should. So I think that's part of why Dr. Holm wanted them to focus on that more, was just to be aware of what's out there.
This is your show, and your questions are key to our show discussion. Call in your questions about health. 1-888-376-6225, or send us an email to ask@prairiedoc.org. Have either of you seen real success stories of people losing weight, either adults or kids? I know I can go straight into my practice every day where I do a lot of dietary counseling, and it's probably the number one thing that I deal with. And the people that I see that are most successful are the people who are motivated and commit to the process. And tell me a little bit about what you would have a pediatric patient do to start that process.
You know, it's really some small changes can make a big difference. I do have patients fill out a healthy habit survey when they come in, and really that goes over their eating habits, exercise, sleep, screen time. So after they've filled that out, it gives them an idea of where maybe they can make some improvements, and then they get to pick what do I want to work on? Do I want to try to exercise more? Do I want to drink more water, cut down on sugary beverages?
Do you use a dietitian very often? Do you send people to?
I do. I wish all of my patients could see a dietitian, really. I mean, I think it's an excellent resource. Educating people about nutrition and what's a healthy option and what's not so healthy, I mean, I think that's vital. So I try to use a dietitian as much as I can.
Ellen, in the community, what do you see like resources that we have that we can help our patients with?
Well, there's a couple of different things, and fortunately there are a lot of programs that we're involved in. A grant program called Completing the Circle, and it's working with newly diagnosed persons with diabetes, and it's working with them as a whole person. We bring in dietitian, the diabetic educator, nurses, physician, even social work and spiritual, trying to work at what is this person holistically dealing with. So some of the things that we do are cooking classes, bringing them crock pots and teaching them how to cook right and be right, the activities part of it. So I think just being able to look at the evidence-based approach and what has worked and what is working elsewhere and applying it to those of us in our community working together on this.
I think I use my diabetics every 3 months as kind of a nice way to get them a goal. Actually have the patient verbalize understanding that they have an exercise prescription. I want you to lose 5 pounds in the next 3 months. If they don't do it, that's okay. But I want them to commit to it and actually have them say it out loud, as your parents would say this out loud, I will lose 5 pounds in the next 3 months. And believe it or not, those people are successful. People who journal their food, write their calories. I love to use the electronic applications like MyFitnessPal, some of the stuff that was on that great plug, to really use that as a way to do that. I encourage people to weigh in. We use the electronic portals. Vera has a portal. Call us in your weight every month, even if you don't want to get on that scale. You know, do the hard work. I think a lot of it comes down to being mindful. Marty, tell me a little bit about mindfulness. We went to a course in January. What was the theme of that?
Well, our course was called Healthy Kitchens, Healthy Lives, and it was about living a healthy lifestyle, healthy eating habits, healthy regular exercise habits. The science really behind a healthy lifestyle was what it was about. You mentioned mindfulness. I mean, there's studies that have shown that people who eat mindfully, meaning you focus on your food, you pay attention to the smell, the texture, the taste, you take time to eat, chew your food so many times, be mindful about it. Those people lost weight compared to control groups who just sat down and ate a meal and weren't mindful about their food. So that's another segment or avenue about healthy lifestyle, is being mindful about your eating habits, your exercise habits.
We have a question. A man from Sioux Falls wants to know, what exactly is lactose intolerance? Well, you know, lactose intolerance, sometimes as we age, we lose an enzyme that helps us digest milk and dairy products. And that can affect your diet. You know, if you have a diet that's heavy in dairy products, that's not usually the most recommended dairy diet that we have out there. But lactose intolerance can be a problem in some diets, and you have to choose a correct diet. What diet, Ellen, do you think is the best diet for most people?
I think the one that they can stick with and actually use.
That's a good answer.
I think the small steps, the things that they can live with, the support that they can have with other people. If they go in to just do the current fad, do a drink their whole meal, and they're sitting with a family that's also eating a meal, how long is that going to last? I think it's what you can work with, and I'm probably the last person who should be talking about this, but at the same time, you know, taking those steps, one step at a time, having the support around, and doing what would work for you is what I would think.
Yeah, there's no specific diet that I recommend. I do believe highly in the Mediterranean diet. I think that has the highest benefit. Marty, can you tell us a little bit about the Mediterranean diet?
Yeah, the Mediterranean diet really has been shown to be probably one of the healthiest diets. That diet includes healthy fats like olive oil, so plant-based oils, avocado, that would be another healthy fat in your diet, lean proteins, lean meats, like especially a lot of fish, you know, some turkey, chicken. Nuts are a really healthy source of fat, and then lots, really the key there too, is lots of fruits and vegetables, especially the vegetables.
And that goes back into being mindful when you're at the store. Tell us, like, if you went to a local grocery, what would you tell your patient or your neighbor about how to pick a food and make it part of that mindful experience?
Well, I think one of the things is what is fresh, be it as local as possible, what is the best, like tomatoes. Sometimes they're the best thing you could possibly put in your mouth. 6 months later, it's like eating a paper bag. So why try to do that? I'd say make it appealing, make it something you eat with your eyes, you eat with your mouth, you eat with your nose, you eat with your friends. Make it a joyful, mindful experience, and not just something that you drive through, slam down, and go on to your next activity. And the Mediterranean to me is so, sticking around in the vegetable aisle and trying to spend most of your time there, grabbing as much colorful things as you can and putting those together.
Marty, is it expensive to do that? Is it expensive to eat healthy? How do you get around that?
That's a good question. It doesn't have to be expensive. I mean, really, in this conference that we went to, Healthy Kitchens, Healthy Lives, they did examples of a healthy meal, lots of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, lean meats. Putting a meal like that together at home compared to going out and buying a meal at a restaurant or a fast food place, the meal that you can put together at home, which is healthier, is many times less expensive. So it doesn't have to be expensive to eat healthy.
Here's another question. A 69-year-old man from Sioux Falls is wondering, is there a higher incidence of obesity as a person consumes more high fructose corn syrup? Is there a correlation? What does high fructose corn syrup mean to you, Ellen?
You know what? It means throw it away.
Yeah.
I think for many years it's been in just everything that's been bad for us.
Right.
And when we have the choice of beautiful olive oils and coconut oil and all of those healthy oils and nuts, and then we have this sticky, gooey,
sugary
things that really don't. They don't help us be better.
The battle of
They hurt us.
sugar-sweetened beverages and then what we eat. So yeah, reading a label. Tell us about reading a label. How do we tell our patients, how do we teach people when you're at the store to read a label?
Well, I mean, that's a great thing that hopefully people can be educated about at some time. I think the schools would be a great place to educate kids about reading labels so that they know as growing up what they're getting at the store. But basically, the nutrition label, it's on everything. It shows you how many calories are in a serving. You have to pay attention to the serving size. That's a big thing because you may look at it and say, oh, this has 100 calories. But you look at the serving size and there's 6 servings in there. So serving size, calories, has your carbohydrates, how much sugar, how much fiber, the protein, how much protein. The fats is an important one. It breaks the fats down into, it'll tell you if there's trans fats, which are the bad fat that you don't want. You want healthy fats, which are the monounsaturated, polyunsaturated fats. So it's important to be educated about that, so when you are making decisions at the store, you know what's going into your body and what you're eating.
So another general question, beans, legumes, their health value, their protein value. You guys have an opinion on that?
We're for them.
Yeah,
we're
I
for
love
'em.
beans and legumes.
Right.
Yeah.
We just
I
had
just made
I'll
a
give her props to this.
shepherd's pie, a lentil shepherd's pie just the other night. So it was a vegetarian meal, so taking out the beef and using lentils and mushrooms and vegetables.
So you can get your protein from these.
Yeah, and lentils and beans are a great source of protein. They're high in fiber, they're high in iron, vitamins, minerals. I mean, they're an excellent
They're inexpensive.
source. They are very inexpensive.
Yeah, when you go to the protein fight, you know, we talk about meat and how to use that. I like to use meat as an accent, as kind of a special thing. So when you do your plate, and we should talk about the plate, describe the healthy plate. What does that look like? Tell me the percentages, Marty.
Well, your plate hopefully will look like you saw earlier on the screen. Half of your plate should hopefully be fruits and vegetables. I mean, in the American diet, we tend to have a big portion of our plate being the main meal, which is usually some type of meat. But really, half of your plate should be fruits and vegetables. The more colorful that is, generally the more healthy it is. And then a quarter of it should be your protein. So that can be your beans, it can be lentils, it certainly can be meat, but it should be a lean type of protein. It could be tofu. Nuts are a great source of protein, so it doesn't always have to be a meat. The healthiest diets actually are more plant-based, so the more plants you can get into your diet, the best. And then the other quarter of it is the grain, and at least half of your grain should be whole grains. So that's your brown pasta, your brown rice, You know, you can eat a sweet potato instead of a white potato. There's little things that you can do to really make your diet healthier. A little bit of dairy, 1 or 2 servings of dairy a day is fine, but a big glass of water at a meal is excellent. Actually, a glass of coffee has health benefits, so a glass or 2 of coffee a day
And let's
is fine.
talk about wine.
And
Oh,
red
yes.
wine.
We'll
Red
talk
wine is
about wine.
a glass of 5-ounce glass of red wine.
Yes, the recommendations
evening
are
is
2
okay.
glasses for a man and 1 for a woman. That's
Life
current
isn't
healthy.
fair.
That's moderate, yes.
Yep.
That's considered moderate use.
Yep.
What about the food pyramid? You know, in the past there was this traditional food pyramid. You kind of went into it about the change in the plate. What's changed really in 2015, 2016? What did they really change? They got rid of it, didn't they? They
Oh, it's gone.
They
We
really
blew
don't
it
have
up,
that.
yep.
So to educate the public, it's more the plate design that Marty was describing in general.
I think it's a lot easier too. You know, just
understand.
each plate, it's easier to understand. It's easier to make sure that as you go through your day, that you're getting what you need, and not too much.
When you describe mindful eating, I think another important thing to get through to patients is talking about the whole experience of eating. It's make it a family event. You were explaining how it's a family event at times to make it build behavior so your kids know this. Cooking the food, washing the food, cleaning up after the food.
Well, you know, I think one of the things we were talking about a little earlier was kids learn by being a part of it. And they will learn to be healthy. If they are growing their garden with you,
Right.
taking
Planting
care
the
of the
seeds.
garden, pulling out the beet, bringing the beet inside, working with you on either roasting it, eating it raw, a couple different ways of doing it, they will eat what they make, and they will eat what they grow, and they can be taught right, and we can be retaught
Right.
throughout this process. And it's a beautiful process working together with the next generation, or in my case, my grandkids. I love it.
Tell us.
And the best thing to add to that a parent can do for their child or children is to be a good example. So if they see you eating a variety of fruits and vegetables and healthy eating, they're gonna follow your lead. Same thing if they see you exercising most days, getting outside, being active, they're gonna follow your lead. So the best thing a parent can do for their child is be a good example.
Tell them the couscous story.
It's a
We
great.
have a good story here.
Which one?
Andy's story.
Our daughter, so after this Kitchens Healthy Lives conference that we went to, we learned about couscous, which we honestly hadn't really had in our
It's a
diet as a
grain.
family. It's a grain,
an
it's
enriched
high
grain.
in protein,
Yep.
it's very healthy. And it's very easy to make. All you have to do is boil water, pour in the couscous, and shut off the temp and let it sit there for 10 minutes. So it's super simple. So when we came home, our daughter, who was 13 at the time, we made it one time, and she decided then that was going to be her thing to do for our meals. And now she loves to make couscous like at every meal. And you can we add fruit to it, add nuts to it, add dried fruit. You can add a lot of things to it. And now it's become kind of a staple in our diet, and she loves to make it.
So education, that's real important. How do we educate ourselves in the high schools? How do we do it? And then how would we do it for adults? Let's talk a little bit about what's out there now and what the future could be. Ellen, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on in the high schools? And
You know, I think some of the things that are happening, and there's been a lot of discussion about these changes in the school requirement, the food things, but I think just being able to, again, give some choice and intelligent choice and work with it's a little late to try to teach high schoolers. They can, but we're a lot better off starting off right away in preschool, elementary, working with the families together. I think one of the programs that I'm most proud of that we brought back from the same program that you guys just came back from, the Healthy Kitchens, was the Harvest of the Month. And we have that. It's a well-established program in Pierre now, and it's gone statewide. And the whole idea is to give people an opportunity to try something. So giving kids a chance to try avocado 3 different ways, 3 different times, to learn about it, get excited, take it home to their family who may never have had an avocado either. I mean, I didn't have one till 15 years ago. And then turn around and run to the store, get it, cook with it, eat it, and just like you guys did with the couscous, it becomes part of your life where it wasn't there before.
Here's
To me,
another
that's
question.
it.
We got a man from Salem would like to know how prevalent is diabetes in your practice, and what is the best way to combat this disease? I do a ton of diabetes. I do general internal medicine. I bet you it's 40 to 50% of what I see in a day. And it relates to all forms of illnesses. What's the prevalence in pediatrics for diabetes?
Well, unfortunately, like I said, when I trained 18 years ago, I didn't see any type 2 diabetic patients in training. But now, unfortunately, it's not uncommon that I have patients that are either pre-diabetic, so on their way to becoming a type 2 diabetic, or they're already type 2 diabetic. So it's becoming more prevalent. But with some healthy choices and healthy changes in our lifestyles, we can reverse that trend.
We also know that diabetes is, for most cases, preventable. So the time to really treat diabetes is before.
Right, right.
So again, lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
A woman from Worthington wonders what is the #1 diet issue people come to the clinic with? #1 diet issue. For me, it's actually counting calories. It's making sure that you stay. There'll be a slide later that just shocked me on how many calories the average American eats. And I think if you use those computer programs and you pay attention to your dietary intake, that's probably the biggest thing we can help people with. And they want that medicine. They want that easy fix. And the answer is you don't get that. You have to do the hard work first before we get to the easy answers that go that way. All right. So the teaching kitchen, just to finish up on that topic, it's a dream to form a teaching kitchen.
Right. I think, we've done some different teaching classes after we've come back from these seminars that, we've learned things we're able to teach other people, and it's been very successful. But to have a steady place and a schedule that makes some sense so that we can really impact lives, that's our goal. And we've been looking for a place and a situation that would work, and haven't been really successful, but this year we're going to do it.
I think it'll be eye-opening when we get that started.
We will start it. We will do lessons. We will we'll have physicians in the kitchen working shoulder to shoulder with their patients. And to me, boy, is that medicine in action. I think that'd be great.
Pasta is often part of comfort food recipes, but it can be a part of a healthy meal too, and still taste great.
Today we're going to make pasta pomodoro. Now, a lot of times spaghetti is, of course, a very popular main dish for many of us, but it can be really heavy and it can have a lot of calories in it. But today we're going to make a light version of pasta, of spaghetti. And it's an Italian dish. It's called pomodoro. And in this recipe, we're going to use 8 Roma tomatoes. They don't have to be Roma, but they are kind of a little bit firmer.
Romas hold their shape much better, so they don't just cook down into a sauce.
That's right. And also, we're going to chop half an onion. We're going to use 4 garlic cloves, and we're going to blanch those first, and that brings a little bit of the nuttier flavor out in the garlic. And then we have some fresh basil, about 2 tablespoons of it chopped. And we have our boiling water over here for our pasta. We tend to like gluten-free pasta. It just, I don't know, is a little bit more al dente. So but you can use any kind of pasta that you would like. So the first thing that we're going to do,
Put the pasta in the boiling water.
that's right. So we can get that ready.
Now, we've also added to this water about 2 or 3 tablespoons of salt.
We're going to boil this for about 6 minutes. While it's boiling, we're going to add the olive oil to the
pan.
hot pan. So make sure it's hot first. That helps things move along. So Jay's going to put some olive oil in there.
About 1/4 cup. And let it warm up before we put those in. We've already taken the skins off the garlic, and now I'm going to blanch it, which means just put them in hot water, boiling water for just a few moments. Like 15, 20 seconds. It just starts the process, it softens them up a little bit and makes it so you get a little nuttier, sweeter taste out of them. Garlic has been blanching here for just a few seconds.
We'll turn that off and take it off
Turn
the
off
heat.
and then put it cold water into it, just to stop
Yeah.
it from cooking. You know the oil is warm when it starts to separate a little bit. You get a little bit of smoke off it, and it moves like water, not oil. That's how you know it's hot enough. You can see that it's in there, it's been on. So now we're going to add the onions and just a little bit of salt.
In the meantime, I'm going to chop the garlic that we just blanched. We have 4 cloves of it. And we're going to add that to the onions as soon as we get this finely chopped. We're going to cut off the ends of the tomatoes. You don't need to take the skins off. In fact, it helps hold the tomato together, so we prefer to leave it on. So just slice it lengthwise first. Slices lengthwise. It makes it a little bit easier then to put them together and chop.
You want to reserve a little bit of the liquid that you cooked the pasta in for the sauce.
We've added the garlic to the onion mixture and turned the heat down to about medium-high and sauteed the onion and garlic for, about 6-7 minutes. Then we're going to take the red pepper flakes and add them to with the onion and garlic mixture. This will give it a nice little kick. Now, if you're not a fan of spicy food, you can leave out the red pepper flakes, but we like...
It doesn't make it hot, it just gives it flavor.
Next, we'll add a little bit of vegetable broth to the onion, garlic, and pepper mixture. We have fresh basil. We're going to chop into, kind of finely, minced pieces of fresh basil. We like to grow this outside in pots during the summer. In the winter, we need to buy it at the grocery store. All right, now we're going to add the fresh basil to the sauce.
Okay, go ahead.
Incorporate these ingredients by stirring, and then add the Roma tomatoes.
The pomodoro.
All right, and we're going to gently simmer this mixture for about, 5 minutes.
Yeah, maybe if that. And now is when you might add a little bit of the reserve.
We boiled the pasta according to package directions, maybe a little bit less because we like it a little more al dente, and then drained it. We're going to add it to our bowls. And this will serve about 4 people. And one of the things that you can do if you want to make this more of a main dish is you can add shrimp or chicken to it. But if you like a vegetarian option, this is good too. There are some recipes that call for canned tomatoes, and so you could use those if you don't have access for some reason to fresh tomatoes.
Like in the wintertime.
Yep. Okay, we're going to top the pasta, and again, you can use any kind of pasta. We tend to like spaghetti. We like the gluten-free spaghetti, but you can use linguine or angel hair, whatever your choice is, and top it with some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. And that's all there is to it. It's simple, it's light, it's easy, and it's healthy. Pasta pomodoro. Ciao.
So how do we convince our patients to try pasta pomodoro instead of a plate of full lasagna? How do we convince them, Ellen, to do
Well,
that?
I think what we were talking about before, we stand and we show them, we demonstrate, and we take them there. We don't just hand them a recipe or, give them a cookbook, but more, let's try it.
You get the community involved. You get a community chef. That was the interesting thing about that meeting, is how chefs were involved.
Yes.
And then grocers were involved, and it became a community concept for kind of presenting that. It was really good. Any other ideas?
Well, the other thing is you have to make sure that it's something that's delicious. I mean, just because it's healthy doesn't mean it doesn't have to taste good. I mean, healthy can be really delicious and nutritious.
Yeah,
so.
our last lead-in was exactly what that was. That was a beautiful dish. It was a nice piece.
Yeah, I wish we were cooking.
Yeah.
Eating.
Yeah. That's a different show, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, what about diet for like older people? I know I take care of elderly patients, and I get the question, you know, how do I feed my elderly parent? You know, nutrition, calories. People have lots of questions. What's the average calorie for an individual? And it does vary. There's no one answer, size and height. You know, for most Americans, I try to shoot for a 2,500 calorie diet, and having people just learn about that. In the elderly, it's a little different. Their metabolism changes. They may need less calories. You have to kind of change the specifics on the quality food they eat. A lot of times we give products like Ensure and some of these dietary supplements, which may or may not be the best thing health-wise, but they do provide calories. How about children? Is there anything specific you would say to a parent that wants to know more about a diet?
Well, one thing I definitely would mention is that parents they get to decide what's on the kid's plate, but the kid is going to decide what they want to eat. And it's important for parents to let kids self-regulate. And I'm not a big fan of telling them that they have to clean their plate, because then you're not letting the child decide, well, I'm full, I don't need to eat anymore. They should over time learn that healthy lifestyle of I'm full, I can stop eating.
They listen to their body.
Yes, so
I'm
they need
full,
to
stop eating.
learn to self-regulate. So as a parent, you should put a variety of things on the kid's plate. Let the kid then decide what they're going to eat. Most kids are just going to eat till they're full and they're going to be done. And if they're not hungry, they're not going to eat that much. Some days they eat great, sometimes they don't. Overall, they get what they need because they learn to just eat until they're satisfied, not stuffed, and then they're done. And with kids too, it's important to reintroduce foods over and over. So things that they didn't like yesterday, well, maybe tomorrow they like them. So you have to continue to offer and offer and offer.
There was a TED Talk that said that, you know, if you feed a kid kale, he'll like kale.
Eventually
If
he'll
they
like
never
it.
see
Yeah,
kale,
yeah.
they won't like
Yeah,
kale.
so you have to offer. Don't try to restrict your kid's palate, because the more you can expand it early on, the better palate they'll have as an adult too.
What do you think about exercise? I mean, how close is it related to diet? How do we explain that to people in the community? I'll tell you my example in a minute, but what do you think we should do
Well,
better?
you know, one of the things, we used to have a committee, the committee still functions in Pierre. It's now fortunately called Let's Move Committee, and it incorporates all of these things that we do, the different activities and the different nutrition, healthier vending at concession stands, all of that our community is working on in terms of policy and practice. I think we were the Healthy Community, Healthy Youth, Childhood Prevention, Obesity Prevention Committee or something. So we moved it to Let's Move. And actually that worked out well for us.
Easier on the station.
It is much. But it also worked out really well for us in terms of it is, let's get out and move. Let's go out and move as families. Let's go out and let's make it easy for people to have a way to get on their bicycles and have different bike lanes. And then we have a project that we've done on 4th Street in Pierre, and I know other communities have done the same thing, where we put together family pods.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful.
It is. And so what you can do is you walk the path, but then instead of just walking a mile path with kids, which, you know, 3-4-year-olds may not want to do that, and well, you know, only so
Concentration
far.
wanders,
Right, or
yeah.
my
Or
concentration. So you go so far and then you stop and play. And I can play with them, or I can sit on the bench and watch them as they discover new things in this playground, and then we move further. So just incorporating a little bit of thinking ahead of what can families do together to get out and move and do it often.
How about healthy snacks? I mean, because you're out exercising, you're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
What do you shove in the backpack? What do you give to the athlete on the soccer field? What do you tell them to avoid? Give us a couple
Really,
ideas.
I mean, really just whole foods. So, I mean, fruits, just, you know, an apple, a banana, I mean, carrots, string cheese, pretzels.
It's not packaged,
I mean,
it's not processed.
Yep, exactly, not processed. The more just whole food you eat, the healthier your diet is going to be. So it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be a special recipe. Just really stick to whole foods, and you usually can't go wrong.
You know, my exercise prescription, I mentioned that a little earlier. People come in and I link that to diet directly. And I say, I need you to commit. You need to find out in your life what you can do better. And can you take time out of work, either before or after, to give yourself 30 minutes where you turn off your cell phone, where you don't answer your emails or your pager, and you can concentrate on getting yourself active. Not walking the dog, that's exercise, but that's not aerobic. We want you to do more than that in a safe fashion. Can you do 30 minutes 3 times a week? Then can you extend it 45 minutes 3 times a week? Pick your days. Mine are Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday. It might not be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You may be up at 4 in the morning. I may be home at 7 at night. So pick your exercise prescription and then intensify it. You know, turn up the tension on the treadmill in wintertime. Try to do 1.5 miles in a little bit less time. And I think everyone can find something that's exciting. And that's usually my lead-in question for the exercise prescription. When people say, you know, what to do, I say, well, what do you like to do? Because I can't pick what's fun for you. I mean, hunting, guiding, those things maybe work for you, and if you do them in a way, you can get some exercise with that.
Yeah, if it's not something you're going to stick to, it's not going to be helpful. So it has to be something that you at least semi-enjoy. A variety of things is best when it comes to exercise. If you're doing the same thing over and over and over, although that's good, it does lose some of its effect over time. So working a variety of exercises into your life, it doesn't, you don't have to go out and run a marathon every day. It's just incorporating activity. Even if every time you go to the water station at work, do 25 squats while you're filling up your water bottle. I mean, that's something simple, but it gets your muscles working, helps your bones, and it gets you moving. So things that you like to do, a variety of things, incorporate little activities into your regular everyday life. Doing things with your family is really important. Again, parents being a good example for children. When kids see parents out going for a jog, going for a walk, kids are going to take the lead on that, and they're going to learn those healthy lifestyle habits over time.
Yeah, if you find an exercise partner, that's huge.
I was going to say that. I don't do well without a partner. When I have personal training session 3 times a week, and my favorite part of the day is leaving that place. It's I'm done.
Yeah.
But I find that when my partner is out of town, I have to really work at getting there, even though I've been doing it
You're
for
not
years.
held accountable, are you?
I can get away with it, exactly. And I will do about anything I can get away with. But when she's there, I know I've got to be there. And so that's how it works for me. Other people, it's very much, bike riding. We've all done a lot of bike riding, and it's something I really love. But I like doing it in a group, not by myself. Other people don't want to be in a group at all. That's how it works.
My exercise partner was teaching PALS this weekend, and I still went to my Pilates class with Elizabeth Zanin. So you can still get your stuff done. Other ways to be innovative. You mentioned some stuff doing squats at work or clinches or whatever you want to talk about. Have you seen some of the information where they have like exercise desks, where they actually have an elevated desk and you walk in a treadmill at 1 mile an hour? There was a study I saw out of Mayo that showed that had some impact. And so those are probably a little more expensive, but they're definitely innovative. Our state employees, when they take a break, they go on a walk around the Capitol, don't they?
It's amazing, isn't it, to see how many people are out there doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's become part of the culture, which is really important.
And then incorporating like a few 10-minute segments of exercise into your day is great. You don't have to do a 1-hour block. You can do multiple 5 or 10-minute blocks throughout the day. It gets you moving. It's nice to be able to get some really vigorous physical activity in, at least for a half an hour a day, even up to an hour, to get some really vigorous activity. But you can incorporate all those little activities too, little bits at a time throughout your day. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Walk the couple blocks to the next place you need to be in town instead of driving your car there if it's only walk more. So there's lots of little things you can do to improve your
Don't park in front of the door, which is a South Dakota
park
thing.
Far away,
Park a block away, 2 blocks away.
I think flexibility and stretching and core strengthening, that's the biggest key I see in the elderly.
Yeah.
Prevention of hip fractures is have a good core. thigh strength. You want to do these simple exercises to stabilize your balance. It also comes from a healthy diet. You want that combination.
Well, I've noticed, you know, as you start moving over age 50, it's a lot. The balance thing is a whole different thing. I never used to have to. I never thought about running up and down stairs. Now I have to think about it. Balance is important, and I think it's good to start early, but building that core strength is key.
And as you get older, you do naturally lose muscle. And so you have to do more strength training, more weights as you get older to maintain that, not to just gain more,
Right.
but just to maintain your strength and in that muscle. You have to add more weights or resistance training into your workout as you get older.
Very good. Let's see, healthy weight. Do you have a healthy weight that you have growth charts, right?
Yeah, we tend to, in pediatrics, we have growth charts and we use weight for height until they're 2. And then after that, we look at the body mass index. So trying to be generally below the 85th percentile in the body mass index chart is where we try to keep kids. So if we see them trending, upwards and getting there, we start to, be a little bit more vigorous about what's going on with their diet and activity. And so we do look at the growth curves with almost every visit, whether it's a well child visit or a sick visit. We try to pay attention to that.
And when people fall off the curve, how frustrating is that?
It's very frustrating. I mean, it's frustrating for us as providers, and it's frustrating for the patient too. But again, if you can help them, if you can educate them, help them make some small changes. Say what can you do for the next couple of weeks? Can you cut out the soda pop? You're drinking 3 sodas a day. Can you cut it down to 1 and then cut it down to none and replace that with water? So there's simple things that you can do over time and then stick with it over time. You develop those healthy habits that you'll continue throughout your life that make a big difference.
We have a question that comes in. People are asking about supplements. What do you guys think about supplements in healthcare? Healthy diet. Can you supplement your diet with supplements?
My answer to that would be, if you eat a really healthy diet, you shouldn't need supplements. You should get that from your diet. So if you're eating lots of plants, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, lean meats, healthy fats, you really shouldn't need to take a supplement on top of that. Supplements probably aren't, they're not harmful, but they're probably, a lot of what we take as Americans as supplements are probably very unnecessary, and we just kind of pee them out in our urine, so they're very expensive, make our urine expensive, but you really should get that in your diet, ideally.
We'll go rapid fire questions here. A few questions here. A woman from Chester, South Dakota would like to know, what healthy foods is a person with cancer advised to eat? Does carbohydrate affect all the replication of cancer cells at all? So, I think all these phytonutrients, these super energy foods, blueberries, some of these antioxidant foods would be things I would probably focus on. I don't think there's a specific diet like the Mediterranean diet that is definitely a cancer diet that would be recommended over one or another. Do you guys have any thoughts on specific? I know you don't do much cancer work in pediatrics.
I think foods that are really high in antioxidants, that type of, like berries, blueberries, pretty much any of the berries, the fruits, there's those antioxidant types of foods can be beneficial. I don't know if there's one specific diet for cancer, but things that have lots of antioxidants.
75-year-old woman from Rapid would like to know if it's important or not eating or drinking after a certain point in the evening. I'm a refluxer, so I'd tell you definitely eat earlier, don't eat later, because you'll have reflux issues. A 65-year-old man from Vermilion would like to know, what are some healthy snacking options instead of a bag of chips? And again, nuts. I think some of those high energy foods would be appropriate, kind of what we talked about. Blueberries, some of those fruits would be great.
Yeah, definitely nuts. That's a great one. They studied like just a handful of almonds. So almonds have healthy fat, lots of vitamin E, fiber. So a handful of almonds a day can go a long way in improving your health. Fruits, vegetables, lots of vegetables. Vegetables are kind of what we call a free food. So you can eat as many vegetables as you want, and you don't have to really count any calories on those. So.
And now for the winner of tonight's Prairie Doc quiz question. True or false, a reduction of 500 calories per day from your usual diet should result in a pound of weight loss a week? The answer is true. It was Dolores Oversky who answered the question correctly. Thank you, Dolores, for participating, and a book will be in the mail to you soon. We'll be right back after this.
All around town, from stores to playgrounds, babies are on the move. And there are diseases that are on the move too. And some of these spread easily. To best protect him from 14 serious diseases by the time he turns 2 years old, vaccinate him according to the recommended schedule, so he can go on about his business and you can have peace of mind. For more reasons to vaccinate, talk to your child's doctor or go to cdc.gov/vaccines.
Last night I walked in on my wife and daughter watching an old movie about the famous cook Julia Child, and from 50 years later, a young American woman trying to cook recipes from Child's cookbook. The movie contrasted two wonderful characters struggling to master the art of French cooking, but I thought too little was presented about the food itself. If we were to contrast the difference between fine French cooking and typical American food, in general, we could say it's mostly about quality versus quantity. The classic French haute cuisine, pronounced haute like grain you give to horses, and cuisine, which rhymes with Holstein. Think haute cuisine and you envision a small, almost dainty course of the freshest ingredients with an emphasis on natural flavors, inventive pairings, a light sauce, a small glass of wine, and a tiny scoop of sorbet for dessert. Think classic American food and you see a large plate piled high with fried chicken, mashed potatoes with gravy, corn on the cob slathered in butter, a tall beer, and a large piece of apple pie with a scoop of ice cream for dessert. Or perhaps more typically, you'd see a fast food double burger with bacon, large fries, a chocolate shake, and a deep fat fried apple fritter for dessert. You get the point. It's not about French versus American. It's about quality versus quantity, taste versus calories. To that end, many nutritional experts make the following recommendations. Understand the calories in the food you eat and aim for 1,500 to 1,800 for an average-sized active woman, 2,000 to 2,400 for an average-sized active man. Reduce those numbers by 300 to 500 if inactive or elderly. College athletes are in a category all by themselves. Eat more non-starchy vegetables, all rich with vitamins and minerals, fiber, and almost no calories. A few examples are asparagus, cauliflower, lettuce, broccoli, onions, peppers, and tomatoes. Build muscles by eating the right proteins with the essential 9 amino acids like eggs, lean meats, fish, or combining peanut butter on whole wheat bread or rice with beans. Relegate to small, defined quantities or avoid altogether the carbohydrates that drive us to eat more, like pasta and chips, white bread, desserts, and I dare say, French fried potatoes. Finally, eat enough fruit daily. Experts warn not to drink your fruit, rather eat it whole. Let's make a new American haute cuisine that's about quality, not quantity.
A big thanks to Ellen and Marty for joining us tonight. As always, thank you for letting me be the honor of being your Rick Holm clone. And as Dr. Holm says, until next time, stay healthy out there, people.
Actually, prevention is worth several pounds of cure. Preventing infectious disease. Next time, On Call with the Prairie Doc.
Major funding for On Call with the Prairie Doc has been provided by
Avera is a proud sponsor of On Call on South Dakota Public Broadcasting. Larson Manufacturing is proud to support On Call Television as it continues to open doors for important medical information.
And by the South Dakota Foundation for Medical Care, the Medicare Quality Improvement Organization for South Dakota. And with the ongoing support from these individuals and institutions: Brookings Health System, Ophthalmology Limited, South Dakota State Medical Association, Avera Heart Hospital, Dakota Allergy and Asthma, Fishback Financial Corporation, Vance Thompson Vision, Aberdeen Asthma and Allergy, Dakota Bank, Orthopedic Institute, Physicians Care Sanford Clinic Community Service Committee, Regional Health, and Swiftel Communications.